My name is Imperial Carter, and this is FlyBoy Radio. Today's show is a special edition, an educational collaboration with my school, Full Sail University. I'm currently enrolled in a behavioral science class, and for an assignment, we had to interview a person on the topic of diversity and how it has affected their life. So I'll be interviewing my good friend, Ms. Zakiyyah Cobin, and we'll be right back with her thoughts. This is Imperial Carter. I'm here live with Ms. Zakiyyah Cobin, and she's my subject for the interview on the topic of diversity from my class, my behavioral science class. So, once again, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, Ms. Zakiyyah.
Hi, my name is Zakiyyah Cobin. I'm a good friend of Mr. Carter's. We have a lot of interesting conversations where we discuss various topics, and sometimes they turn into a debate, other times they don't. But, however, I was very pleased that he asked me to assist him with his assignment tonight, because this is a subject that I really felt strongly about, and so I'm happy to be able to participate.
All right, Miss Zakiyyah Cobin, I'm starting over here, but here's my first question for you. What's your take on the diversity in America?
Well, first, when I think about diversity, I wanted to actually find out, how did America become so diverse? Because in school, and I don't know about everyone else, but I know myself, I was taught that, Christopher Columbus in 1492 discovered America. And when actually I did research, and the first people that were here in America, as far as we know as of today, were people of the Asian descent. At some point in time, there was a bridge that connected from Alaska to Asia, and these people who were found frozen in ice and their fossils was found were walking from one continent to the other, which I found rather amazing. But anyhow, my take on diversity is, I think that being in America, where there are different cultures and ethnic groups, and you learn so much, and I think it's a good thing myself. I know there's people that have a problem with it, but I couldn't possibly see myself living in a place where everyone that was around me looked like me. If we were all the same color, how would we really learn from each other? How would our children learn from other children? I couldn't see it being no other way.
Right. I think diversity is definitely a good thing. I think that America is a diverse place as far as population goes, but there are definitely some people who are opposed to diversity and cultural integration. So, we do have a long way to go in the viewpoint of diversity, and in my viewpoint, the way that I think as how America is. But I think we made, great strides, but we definitely have, a long way to go.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that, people would look at people as being people instead of being a black person or a white person or a Mexican-American person. You think about it all. You got African-American, Mexican-American, Spanish-American, Chinese-American, but when you sum it all down, they're all Americans. So why try to divide them up? We're all like one people.
Right.
And I think that it's wrong to try and
Exactly.
It was meant for everybody.
I think it's just, some people have a viewpoint that, you should be a naturalized American citizen to be, to come over here and to have the American dream. But, basically the American dream is for everybody that, that's in America, and even though there might be some people that are illegal, the process to become a natural citizen it's a long process. I think if we want to help people, we definitely have to shorten that process, and just kind of maybe have like a screening process. If people are coming over here and they're criminals, they have a criminal background, they've murdered people, and they're drug carriers. Yeah, exclude those people. But the people who are who are hardworking,
who really want to work, and those who want to do what they have to do to get the American dream. I don't feel that they should be penalized because they weren't born in America, because would I have to do the same thing if I wanted to move to Russia?
I'm not sure. Probably not. I think their process to naturalize a citizen, or even just to have a work visa, or whatever whatever the legal circumstances are, I think it's a lot shorter than it is here in America. But what you're speaking on is a form of discrimination, and I would like to know what type of discrimination have you experienced in your lifetime?
I never really felt discriminated against until, I had got this particular job, in which I don't want to speak on it, but we know what it is. And I can say I've heard, before I could say that the act of discrimination was brought on to me, I had been hearing rumors through various people at the job saying, this is going to happen, and, you're a female, and none of the guys down there is going to like you because, this job was meant for the men, so they really make it hard for the women, and, another thing is because you're black, and, so once I got past all of that, the only type of discrimination that I experienced that really offended me was a discrimination against my religion. There was a situation where, I had completed all of my work for the day, and, I just wanted to go to the chapel, and I wanted to go pray, and I was told that I couldn't go. So when I brought the question up why, I'm entitled to have my time to myself, whether it's to wash my clothes or go pray, I could have my time to myself. Well, my supervisor, I don't know what his religious background was, but he kind of made a comment at me, and he said, well, do you believe in God? And I'm like, yes. He's like, no, do you really, really, really believe in God? I'm like, yes, I do, And he was like, well, God knows that you got to do your work, so he'll understand that you can't go and pray to him right now. And I felt real numb after he said that, because I was just like, how could he say this to me where, they're allowing other people to go and practice their, religious traditions, and, here I just want to go sit and serve and pray, and tell me I can't go. Then I felt like he was mocking my religion. So yes, I really felt discriminated against, because, it wasn't like they were telling the whole department that you can't do it. They just told me that I couldn't do it.
Okay, so he was singling you out and discriminating against you as far as your religious beliefs, which nobody has the right to do.
Yeah, no, they didn't. And they'll see me. I'll be sitting down eating dinner with a few friends, from Bible study class, and they'll just approach me like, hey, you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be here. No, this is my lunchtime. I'm supposed to be eating. And it really took for the pastors to step in and say, we see what you guys are doing. Leave her alone. And after that, they left me alone. But
And since that time, you've faced that type of discrimination, racial discrimination, discrimination as being a female, a woman in a male-dominated work environment, and your discrimination against your religion. How has that affected your outlook? Have you changed the way that you view things, or are you just still the same person and just made a few adjustments?
I'm still the same person. I have not changed not one bit. I will not, do a special test to get my way up to the top or whatever. Actually, I remained at the bottom up until just recently. I found out that I received a promotion. But no, it has not changed who I am. I will not, under no circumstances, lower my values that I have of myself for anyone. And as far as how I see, as far as how I look at those particular people, I think it's sad, that they have those type of characteristics instilled in them. That they feel that this is how they have to act upon other people, especially those that are new coming into this type of field, that this is how they treat people. And a person who is not strong enough to get through something like that, they will definitely be broken down. And I've never been a weak person, so it really, going through what I went through, I can say it definitely only made me stronger, because now I can walk past them and still smile at them and get on the sex my day, and I can go on about my business and not think twice about them. But, I guess somewhere maybe in the back of their mind, they're probably still trying to think of a way to get me, But I definitely, I learned from it. I learned from it a lot, and it has taught me a lot. It has.
So basically, you're saying that your approach to life hasn't changed, and that the way you treat people who do discriminate you probably would tend to treat them with kindness rather than hostility.
Right.
Exactly. I think that's a good outlet to a good way to solve a problem, because a lot of people try to fight fire with fire, and a lot of times that just creates an even bigger problem. So
it does. It's not even worth it. I mean, why waste your time and energy? Not to get off the subject, but that's why I don't see purpose in wars. A war is never over. It's always going to be a war, and it'll be a war, and then it'll die down for a minute, and then we're back fighting again, and then it's a complete waste of energy, and it's pointless. I feel like you have a problem with someone, you figure out a way to work it out, and you move on. It's all about coexisting.
Exactly. And I think us, as human beings, as the human race, we have a long way to go as far as our mentality and the way that we view the world and other people. A lot of times we're selfish as human beings, and we want things to be our way, and we don't want to compromise. Like I said, I'm speaking from a worldly experience. So until we figure out how to coexist as humans and be more empathetic and just to not be so selfish, we're gonna have the wars going to be around for a long time. After me and you are long gone, they will still be fighting wars over anything and everything.
Because it's about trying to make whether it's one race feel inferior to another race, or one government feel inferior to another government, or one king feel inferior to another king. Somebody always want to have more power than the other. But as I mentioned before, if we can look at people as just being people and not being a black person or a white person or a Mexican person, it would definitely alleviate a lot of this drama that's going on.
Exactly. I think it would alleviate a lot of conflict in the world. I think that society, not just in American society, but societies throughout the world, they want to place labels on people. That they want to be like African Americans are, labeled as African Americans in the United States. When a lot of times, people consider themselves black, or they might think that they're something else. If we can get past the labels and just see people for who they are, then I think that would also, help. That's a step on the way to alleviating conflict in the world, and even, just the United States and the world in general.
Right.
So, do you feel like you have a diverse outlook on life, Ms. Zakiyyah?
I do. I love all types of people. I don't care what color they are. I want to get to know people for who they are. And as I mentioned before, also, I couldn't imagine living in America and, everybody was African American. I can't imagine it. I couldn't imagine what it would be like. America is known as a melting pot. We have all different races, all different ethnicities. People just nationalities. Everything is so mixed up. And that, I feel like, with it being that way, you can learn so much from other cultures. You can learn their traditions. You can learn their languages. I mean, would we be able to speak Spanish if there was not a Spanish person that ever came to America?
No, we wouldn't.
I don't think so. I mean, so I think it being such a diverse culture that it is, that we learn from one another. I think that is also how America is able to thrive as much as it does, because it's such a diverse culture. Because we have so many people here from different countries that can bring their talents, and they can bring all of that over here to us, and then we can go over to other countries, and we can give our talents and our businesses and to them, and that's how we're able to progress as in the economic status. But just I could not. Can you imagine waking up and everybody was one color?
No, that'd be probably a scary world. I'm not. It would be kind of weird. I'm not sure that I don't know. It's like in the future, man. It maybe like you might have that happening. I'm not sure, but I know that's something like Hitler. Hitler wanted that. He was trying to get rid of everybody that didn't look like blonde hair, blue eyes, and
blonde hair, blue eyes. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, to me, I think it's just. It's a scary. It would be a definitely scary world to live in if everybody was just black or everybody would just be just white. It'd be extremely weird. So I hope that day never comes where everybody's just the same color.
Right. Right. I was thinking about that. Like, man, how many? Oh my gosh! If everybody was just one color, I think it'd be a terrible place.
I think so too.
It'd be a terrible place. It would. There'd be no mixture of races, and yeah.
It definitely. Yeah, I'm sorry. So how important is diversity to you? Do you take the time to try to experience new cultures? Maybe eat different cuisines, or maybe try to sample a different languages. Is diversity something that's very important to you, to experience?
It is very important, and I'm going to tell you why. Up until, my job, which does allow me to travel a lot, my first country that I visited was Italy. And Italy has different cultures than those that we hold here in America. And, when I got over there, it was like a culture shock, because I have never been out of America. So when I got over there, even when I went to Dubai, their cultures that they have over there, and their traditions, and the way that the women are supposed to carry very important. It is like the most important thing. You have to, it all goes back to being able to coexist with one another. I mean, you have to learn how other people live, so you're going to be disrespectful to their cultures and, their traditions and everything that they do.
Exactly. I think that's definitely important to experience. I have a lot of diversity in just my family and in the places that I've been. I too have been over to Dubai and Italy. My dad is Japanese and German, and my mom is of Egyptian descent. So I have a lot of diversity in my family, and I think diversity is very important. It's essential to America, and it's just essential to a person. Not just Americans, but people in the world. I think if you have a more diverse outlook, you're open to more things. You're not closed-minded. So I think it's definitely essential to survival. To tie in with the Middle East topic, since 9/11, there's been a lot of discrimination against Muslims or Arabs or people just of Middle Eastern descent. Have you discriminated against any of these types of people with this type of background? Like, if you see an Arab on an airplane, what imagery comes to mind?
Nothing. Nothing comes to mind. Comes to mind is let's get to where we gotta go and let's get off this plane. I cannot discriminate against someone unless that person, maybe push me in the airport and, maybe threw some racial slurs at me or something before we boarded a plane or something like that, then yes, I would have that image of them. But to just be on a plane with someone, no, I don't look at them. I don't look at them like that. I don't. I can't. I don't discriminate against people. I know, most people will, and I hear it all the time, how people are afraid to get on airplanes with, people of the Middle Eastern descent. I'm just not like that. Well, and I can also say that I don't even ride planes. If I can get there in my car, I don't care if it takes me 3 days, I'm driving my car. I don't like planes, period. But if I see them out on the street, I don't think they're about to pull out a gun on me and, start shooting me up. I mean, because we have people here in our own country that is doing terrorist moves. I mean, you got the Cobin. Even though I see that as a terrorist attack.
Exactly.
We got these young African American guys out here on the street that's killing each other. I see that as a terrorist attack. We got people that's going off into schools and shooting up kids. That's terrorist attack to me. So they're not the only ones doing terrorist attack. And if I'm gonna be scared of them, then I need to be scared of everybody that I walk down the street.
I think that's definitely a good way to look at it. In discrimination, you shouldn't discriminate against anybody. I've never thought like people, Middle Eastern people, were terrorists. There's 3 billion people that there are Muslims in the world. So if every one of those were a terrorist, there'd be a lot more dead people, in the world. So you just can't just. The bottom line is just don't discriminate against people and don't judge a book by its cover. Just because you see somebody that looks different, you shouldn't be automatically scared of them. Like I said, I'm a black male, so I've experienced a lot of discrimination in my lifetime. I remember just being a young kid, and I used to love to read, and I lived in Utah, and a lot of there's not very many black people in that state. I could probably count them on one hand. There's probably like 10 people in Utah, honestly. Just kidding, but I would read a lot, and people would make fun of me, and then the white kids would tell me that I couldn't read because I was black. And I remember I wanted to go to one of my friend's birthday party, and his parents invited me, because my first name is Chad. So a lot of people think I'm white automatically because, it's supposed to be a white name. So I just remember, right, some name that black people are supposed to typically have, some ghetto name or whatever. But I couldn't go to his birthday party. Once I got there, his parents wouldn't let me attend his birthday party because, they were racist. So I remember as a kid just being sad and feeling bad about that, I wasn't ashamed of being black. I was sad that, that people felt like that way towards me, and I never did anything to them. I never even met his parents, so I've definitely experienced a lot of the discrimination. Can't speak right now. In my life.
How did you handle it? How did you handle being discriminated against in that manner?
During that time of my lifetime, I was a child. I think I was like 7 or 8. So I kind of stopped being friends with the guy. There was nothing really that I could do. It was out of my hands. I know he wasn't racist. It was just his parents was. He didn't project a racist attitudes towards me. It's just it was hard to be friends with him when your parents are racist. So I was sad. It did affect me as far as that incident. As far as like the reading and stuff like that, I didn't let it affect me. I've always been a big avid reader. I think it's integral to intellectual growth. So I just continue to read and just do my thing. I never let people discourage me. I think that you should just keep on trucking on. Just because you experienced something traumatic in your lifetime, I don't think you should let that define you. If anything, it should be feel ammunition to overcome your circumstances.
So, right. I know you're supposed to be interviewing me, but here's my next question.
Okay.
Have you being discriminated against again in that manner? Were you ever angry, like at just white people, because of what you went through in the past? Like, did you have some sort of anger directed towards white people?
I could say that at one point in my lifetime, I have been angry at white people. I'm not gonna, front or lie. I have been angry at white people. There's been people in my family that were murdered by white people. So at one point, I was just like, man, I was kind of like, I just hated them. It was a brief time, but it's not something that I'm proud of. But I had to learn how not to project my anger towards a group of people and just the individuals that actually did it. You have to differentiate and separate between the two. It's not something that you can't objectify an entire group of people for one person's mistake. So, as an adult, I've learned the difference, and I don't no longer project hate or anger towards anybody that's white. I love people, and I always have. It was like I said, it was a point in my lifetime where I felt that anger. So, yeah, I definitely have learned from that experience.
Okay.
Well, Ms. Zakiyyah, I'm going to have to wrap this up. It's been a lovely conversation, and I would like to thank you for allowing me to interview you, and you interviewed me a little bit here towards the end, but thank you for reaching out to me and making this possible. Thank you guys for tuning in to FlyBoy Radio. This has been a special edition, like I said, in collaboration with my school, and thanks a lot to Ms. Zakiyyah Cobin for making this happen, and thank you guys for listening. Tune in next week, next Thursday, for my new edition of FlyBoy Radio.